Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Study Break, presented by Southern New Hampshire University. Today, I'm with fellow SNHU staff member Spencer, and we're interviewing 5 different students with amazing stories. Spencer, it's awesome to be with you in person. I feel like we don't get to do this enough, so happy to be here with you.
Yeah, same to you, Christian.
Okay, so we're talking to Minda today, who we actually met in 2023, and she's now come back for her master's degree. Can you just tell me a little bit about Minda?
Yeah, Minda is absolutely incredible. She, like you said, started way back with us, and we had the privilege and opportunity to interview her back then. It feels very full circle that we get to interview her now and to celebrate this major win of earning her master's in organizational leadership. So yeah, I'm excited to get that conversation going with her. Amazing. Here we are. Minda, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I don't know if you know this either. You were actually the first student I ever interviewed on camera, ever. So this was like very full circle for me too.
Well, we've definitely been through a lot together at this point, I would say. So
For
you
real.
you definitely deserve your flowers.
Oh, thank you, Minda. You deserve all of the flowers in the entire universe, really. And I really, I want this conversation right now to feel like a victory lap for you. You've been through so much. As a person, as a professional, you've always been really focused. And I know from even going back and looking at the conversations we had a few years ago, you're doing exactly what you set out to do. So I want to start there. What has driven you to this point? It's incredible how focused you are.
I just know that my family, my kids, everyone in my life, they drive me in some way. Everyone has a special part of them that influences other people. And I want people to be able to see that in themselves. And so for me, I just love that I get to meet people and I see these qualities in everyone that I know that I aspire to bring to my own life and to even just share with others. So I'm just so grateful. And I think that's a big part of what's motivated me is the people around me, like you and the team here at Southern New Hampshire University. I'm just so grateful.
Have you even noticed, actually, in the past few years, having shared your story on the scale that you did, have you noticed people being inspired by that sense of purpose that you have?
I think that, like I said, I think there's a little bit of something in everyone, but I definitely feel that my journey it brings people together, and it also creates a level of just inspiration for people to go out and do the same thing for others. And for me, I know being a part of a nonprofit organization that I work with brain aneurysm survivors, we do a lot to raise awareness about this and to help other people. And I'm just seeing this, it's like a tumbleweed, just kicking up the dust of purpose, basically. And it's just you see people stepping into what they were made to do. And that is so big for me. And I think that's a big part of what SNU does is guide people to their purpose through the educational experience here.
That is so true. And I know anyone you talk to, they'll tell you we feel like we're doing something that matters, and that's what motivates us every day. So yeah, we can definitely relate to what you're saying. Yeah. So for folks who might be less familiar with your story, I'd love to just give a brief history of when you started at SNHU, the things that kind of happened in your life after you started, and what has sort of led you to this point and this big momentous occasion we're celebrating today, this weekend. So can you tell us a little bit about that, where your journey started?
Yes. So my journey with SNHU started in 2018, and I was actually a transfer student. So I had already had a little bit of college experience prior to, but nothing like how I've experienced since I've been here. Complete opposite. I've been in spaces that weren't so welcoming and just really hard to navigate college. And stepping into online learning with Southern New Hampshire University was just the best thing that I could have done, because I was at the time a mom, younger mom, and I have twins. So that was a big part of trying to balance my life, as a mom, work, taking care of, just all of the things. So going back in 2018, I was finishing up my associates and I said, if I can do this, then maybe I can actually push forward and get the bachelor's and, continue with what I want to do, because public health has always been something that's really close to my heart, and just continuing to advocate for people. And so after that, it was like, okay, well, I got my associates. I'm like, I think I can do it. I think I can, go for the big one, I guess you could say. And I just decided to pursue the degree in public health, Bachelor of Science in Public Health. And that experience was great. I had amazing advisors. I was afraid because I was like, life is happening to me, there's all these things. But after my brain aneurysm rupture, like I said, I had to come back and recover and do all of these things. And it was just really tough, but I had so much support from the staff here, and I was able to continue to push through. And even with having some newly acquired, disabilities, as far as, having short-term memory issues and things that would complicate a normal education process, the OAC department here, the Online Accessibility Center, they were extremely helpful in just guiding me into ways that would help me to learn better, providing tools, things that would help me, even reading and visual aids to help me with what I was experiencing. And I was able to get through this first leg of the journey. And I'm like, I can't believe it. We did it. And I say we because the school was a huge part of it. It wasn't just me. Like I couldn't have done it without the support of everyone here. So we got the bachelor's, and I said, okay, you know what? Let's keep going. And for me, leadership is really huge. And I feel like when you have good leaders, that it changes the tone, it changes the room, just everything about your work life. If you have good leadership, then you really can conquer the world, and you can bring all these people along with you, and they can do it too. So that was one thing with this school. It was the knowingness in my mind that if I can do it, anyone else can do it too. So I just really enjoyed being able to get here, and I'm like, I can't believe it. I'm graduating and getting my master's. So,
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did the work. You're doing it. It's incredible. Does this time feel any different, like doing commencement this year?
It does. And I say that because I'm actually graduating with my cousin, and, we're doing this together, and she's gone through her journey and I've gone through mine. But at the end of it, we get to celebrate. And that to me is the big part about being at this school, is that celebration at the end. You just can't beat it. It's the best. So if you've already been through a commencement, you've experienced it once, but it's like this time around, it's like, it's times 10, times a million, the energy in the room, you just can't beat it. So I'm excited.
I love that so much. I want to go back a little bit because I know that, like, you study public health, organizational leadership. You can someone could maybe infer about connections between those two things. You have been really open with us about how you received support, I think, from the medical community at a time when you needed it most, and you were motivated to give back in a different way. And I think higher education was your way to get there. So I'd love to hear about like that initial motivation. Why was it so important for you to give back? What were those maybe in between moment experiences that you had that made you realize this is really important to have better leadership here? And what do you hope to do by achieving both of those degrees?
Yes. So one of the things in my life that I felt torn about was teaching, and also going into that public health space and advocacy for other brain aneurysm survivors. And I'm always like, well, what can I do to kind of mesh the two, or, figure out how to help people, but still, with my love of learning and my passion for education, how do we do this? And so advocacy was a huge step in, getting to this point. And I was advocating with the B Foundation for Brain Aneurysm Prevention, and it's a nonprofit organization. And I have learned so much from being a survivor to where we actually have ambassadors and people that are assigned to provide support to other survivors. And then there are people that went through this just like I did. There's people that are going through it, all the time. And it's sad that, every few minutes someone's having one, and it's creates a huge burden on the families. And I really wanted to be able to change that. Only, I believe it's like $2 per person is spent in federal funding to even help survivors. So we've actually gone to Washington, D.C. annually to advocate in person and at the Capitol to help provide funding for brain aneurysm survivors. So what I've done and the tools that I've picked up here have really helped kind of push for that advocacy and for helping other people and making sure people get the support. They're not just left alone to try to figure it out once this has happened to them, because it's devastating. And there are people that lose their lives every day. I'm just fortunate to still be here.
I want to just reflect on everything you've just said, because that level of advocacy, thinking about where you were when you first started your educational journey, did you, even in your wildest dreams, did you think you would be doing everything that you were doing?
I really didn't have a clear direction with my life prior to all of this happening to me. So I know that this experience has provided so much clarity on my purpose and what I'm supposed to be doing and how I'm supposed to help people. And that is, it's why I'm here. I don't feel like I'm here for myself. I feel like we're all here we all have gifts and we all have talents and things in us that are meant to help other people. And I feel that this is what I'm supposed to do: teaching, advocacy, everything from working with my middle and high school students to, working with the foundation. And it's been such a blessing to me, but I love it because I love to see other people be able to do it too. Once you get involved and you start helping other people, there's something in you that sparks and you want to just spread that to everyone else. And then next thing you know, they're doing it for someone else and they're helping their neighbor, or they're, advocating or going to Capitol Hill, or, doing things that, really matter and make a difference, in this world. So
since the time when you started your degree, your original degree program, 2018,
yes,
the world has changed quite a bit. So I'm curious about how you feel like you've changed with it.
that is a really good question. I feel that the way technology is moving now, we are being forced to move with it. And looking back, pre-COVID days, I guess we can say, to where we are now. I mean, I actually had my aneurysm in 2020. So it was the year the world shut down.
It was a month before, right?
It was about a month before I actually got discharged from the hospital the day that the world completely shut down and you couldn't go anywhere. So just experiencing that and realizing how much people had to do at home, working from home and remote, learning this new way of life. And then now seeing how things are back to whatever we want to call normal, and incorporating what we learned into, from that experience into our new day-to-day life is just really important. So everything from learning how to incorporate technology into teaching and just any, different styles of education, learning, and all of that, I think it's been really important. And that's something that you can get the tools and the skills to learn how to do right here. And that's what I've done. So
we've talked about so many things, and I feel like so much of it has been centered really and rooted in your purpose, your why, all of these things that are really important. And kind of in the spirit of you being such an inspiration to other people, I just want to leave a little bit of airtime for, do you have any last kind of message you want to send to anyone who is feeling stuck, is feeling like the world is changing and they can't change with it? what do you have to say to someone to help them maybe see the light that they have in them too?
I would say be strong and courageous. I think it's really hard when you're going through things to be brave or to feel strong, but I know that when you like I said, you have purpose, but when you keep going, just keep going. And it might be hard. You might have some rough days. You might feel like giving up. There were many, many days that I felt like giving up. There were many days that I didn't feel adequate. I didn't feel like I could do it, or I didn't feel like I was enough. But the reality is you are enough. And you have to tell yourself, you know what? I can do this. And really, truly, people say it all the time. It sounds very cliche, believe in yourself. But, you really have to, dig your foot in the ground and say, you know what? I'm not moving. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing. And that's what I would encourage everyone to do.
Thank you, Minda. The only thing I want to say before we wrap is the world is better with you in it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And likewise, the world is amazing with you in it, Spencer.
Thank you, Minda.